Hey everyone, welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
Where it's a good thing that we didn't play the drinking game where we drink every time they say season premiere.
Oh my God, we would not be here recording
Yeah,
this
we wouldn't
episode
be
of
here.
SmackDown, but
Good
we
thing we
are,
didn't.
we are
For the
here.
greater good.
Yes, I'm Jazz,
Here, Johnny.
and if you didn't know, we are here to talk about the season premiere of SmackDown. So it's a thing now. There are seasons now in wrestling, and this seems to be season 2 of SmackDown. And we have got quite a show to unpack because the entire SmackDown locker room is out on the ramp, and we have Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in the ring. They welcome us to the Thunderdome. They're hyping up the show, the main event between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, the New Day farewell match, which kind of got a little emotional. They even hype, like some new faces such as Kevin Owens, Aleister Black, even Daniel Bryan, who is back, and I was so happy to see Daniel Bryan.
Yes, I think we all were. I think we all shed a tear for that moment.
And we saw Triple H and Stephanie yesing.
That was so weird.
Yeah, that
Very
was
weird.
that was really nice to see.
Why
So
would they stoop to such a level?
yeah, that was really odd. So they mention the Freak, Lars Sullivan, and then Triple H starts singing Super Freak, and that was a little weird. Uh,
Yeah.
they also talk about Sami Zayn and Otis, and I'm like, okay, they kind of mention them in the same vein, so something is gonna happen between them, which I guess my doubt turned out to be right. And they also talk about the Street Profits who will be defending their titles against two guys that just ambushed them right away. We have Ziggler and Rude that attacked them from behind, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose, and the whole SmackDown roster is brawling except for the women that are now gone.
Wow.
Did you not realize that? Like, I was wondering, I'm like, where did the women go?
I mean, I was wondering. Yeah, exactly. None of them were there. I'm not sure why that went down. I guess they were smart enough not to bicker. They were probably talking behind each other's backs instead
Oh
or
my God,
something.
don't even say that. Okay, anyways, moving on.
Well,
Lars,
sorry.
Lars Sullivan comes out and he basically demolishes everyone as Sami Zayn escapes. Smart man. And Jeff Hardy attacks Lars Sullivan, and this is how we have our first match of the night. Hardy does try to take Sullivan off his feet at the beginning, but his brutish strength was just too much. And if you didn't know, he is a freak. Michael Cole actually reminded us that 16 times in the 7 minutes that we got this match.
Wow.
So
That's as many world titles that Ric Flair has. Wow.
woo! And he
Woo.
basically just starts clubbing him in the head, and Jeff Hardy starts selling a knee injury that he got from the previous weeks. Lars actually goes for a top rope move, but he misses, which starts Jeff's short momentum.
It was a
Uh,
diving headbutt.
yeah, pretty much. And Jeff Hardy actually hits a whisper in the wind, but only gets a 1 count. He hits a twist of fate, but like it doesn't even do anything to Lars Sullivan as he just kind of lands on and he just kind of just stands up easily. He
Yeah,
hits
he
him.
was surprised when he got to the top of the turnbuckle to
Yeah.
realize that, oh, I'm not going to be able to hit the swanton bomb on this guy because he's standing. And he just grabs him for the freak accident, and that's it. That was a squash match. It didn't really feel like a squash match.
No, I mean it wasn't really a squash match in the sense that we still got to see Jeff Hardy kind of put a valiant effort. And this was also, let's not forget, his last appearance on SmackDown because he is
I
going to Raw.
I just want to say, like, I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, but I feel like the theme of this episode is to bury the Raw guys because we got Jeff Hardy, who kind of looked like a
And,
schmuck, and that's kind of not the end of Raw guys having their last hurrah on SmackDown and it not going well, except
well,
for a couple guys that had a great time on
I
their
don't
way
know.
out. But most of them went.
I didn't really think of it that way, but did you notice that that Jeff Jarrett was part of the Thunderdome crowd?
Yeah, they mentioned, I think at the beginning or like maybe like few minutes into the match, that Jeff Jarrett's there and he's going to be part of the kickoff show, I think, for Hell in a Cell or
Yeah.
something. And it's not the first time, and it's not going to be the last time that they mention that someone is in the Thunderdome. So
Oh yeah,
stay tuned for that.
for sure. So we're gonna move on to the New Day, who actually make their way to the ring. But before that, we see a really good video package of Bianca Belair, and it just got me really hyped up for her SmackDown debut. I mean, I even texted you when it was happening. It really seems that they're going to be pushing her as a big star, deservingly so, because I still believe that she should have been the one to defeat Shayna Baszler in NXT.
Yeah, that was a now you made me think about that match where she basically like
Yeah.
survived everything. She was just missing getting shot in the face and still picking out at 2 there. But yeah, I hope to see great things from Bianca Belair when she comes back on SmackDown.
Yeah, so we're gonna jump back to the ring. The New Day, they get on the mic and they talk about how the draft, caused them to split. Kofi's really getting emotional.
Everyone's emotional.
Yeah, everyone's emotional. But what I liked is that he talked about, like, they were reminiscing about their accomplishment, and everything that they've done together has been quite impressive. But what I liked about Kofi is that, for me, it goes beyond that, because back in 2012, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to continue wrestling or continue doing this, and for me, this kind of went beyond wrestling and these great moments that we had together. Like, I actually found brothers throughout this. And even Xavier Wood gets emotional, and we haven't seen them in a tag match in over a year, like as Michael Cole and Corey Graves were mentioning during the match, and it felt so good to see them kind of wrestling together.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and they really delivered. Before the match started, though, there was also a rebuttal from the other team. The Bar is back, which was cool, and they each got to say something about how they can't wait to give them the send-off they deserve, which includes beatings. I think Sheamus calls them Muppets. Cesaro's mad because they like pancakes and they stole the titles. And Nakamura says it's goodbye forever for the New Day.
Pretty much.
So that's going to be great. The League of Nations comes out. The Bar.
The Bar.
And they come out, and then we have a commercial break, and then we get to see the Fox Sports crew tell us what they think is going to happen in the main event before we actually get to the match here. And this one's quite a good match, I must say.
It was an excellent match. For me, it showed how elite of a team the New Day are and how unique their tag team moves are. Because there's one, and I'll let you talk about the match or your favorite moments in the match, but for me, there were 2 notable moments, and one of them was the tag team spot where the Big E kind of just picked up Xavier Woods and he powerbombed him on Sheamus, and then right after that, like not even a split second, and Kofi Kingston showed up and he just hit him with a splash from the top rope that looked so good. And there was another moment that I thought was really, really cool, was basically the heels kind of doing a triple team move of their own, where they were outside, there were 2 men holding Kofi in the air, and then Nakamura just kind of runs in and he hits him with like a kind of like a jumping knee onto his stomach, which kind of looked brutal as well. Both teams got to showcase why, and this is my opinion, both teams got to showcase why the WWE needs to focus more on the tag team division.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept, tag team in general. Like it's always nice to have some variety instead of just singles matches. And like you said, so this match was interesting because the first half, I feel we didn't really get to see much of Big E. He would tag in, do a move like you said, and then tag out. He did it twice. The powerbomb you mentioned was the second time, but I believe he tagged in, and then Woods tagged in immediately and like kind of picked him up as though he was in the electric chair, and then Big E was able to splash. I think it was Cesaro. I'm not sure. So that was the only action Big E got for that first part of the match when the New Day in control. And then the second half of the match was more Kofi getting beat down, and the heels were just having their way with them. The Bar got to kind of do their thing, which was really nice. Mm-hmm. A lot of trash talking from everybody on that side. And eventually the New Day are able to kind of like take over the match. And then it's just flying on all cylinders. Everything is going down. And the finish is just explosive, where it's like what was it? It was like the big ending, but Woods kind of did something to help it. And it was on, and they pinned Sheamus too, which is part of my narrative of like people from Raw just getting buried, even though Woods and Kofi are going to Raw too.
I mean, I feel like you're maybe kind of looking too much into it. I don't think it was let's bury Raw guys. I mean, Sheamus just got the pin because I know you're just sad because he's a ginger, and you guys you gingers have to look out for each other.
Absolutely, you figured me out. And another thing I thought was funny was that apparently one of Xavier's moves is called the Morning Woods, which I think Michael Cole said. I don't know how he said that with a straight face, but I think it was like a double team with the Iranagi and like the backstabber. I think it was something like that. Yeah, which I thought was funny.
That was a pretty funny move name. But so the New Day win in their farewell match. They celebrate one last time as we hear Big E thank them as they're hugging. So really, really nice to see touching that moment. Yeah, really really touching stuff. And I'm looking forward to a Big E singles run. And I love seeing the New Day back, and I'm hoping that we get to see some really cool stuff from Kofi and Xavier Woods on Raw. So we're going to jump backstage with Kayla Braxton, who introduces Otis. But before the poor guy is about to say something, Sammy butts
He
in.
doesn't say a word.
He
Yeah.
doesn't say a single thing. So Sammy butts in and he rubs salt in the wounds as he says that Otis lost Tucker and then he lost Mandy. And in the world, there are winners like Sammy and there are losers like Otis. And Otis kind of shoves him and Sammy is just appalled. Sammy's kind of like, do you see? Like, he just pushed me on the ground.
I mean, I don't blame him. Now, I had missed the opening 10 minutes, so I'm like, why is this interaction happening? Why is Sami Zayn all up in Otis's face? But then if you watch the beginning, which I watched quickly, the first 10 minutes I missed, I'm like, oh, okay, they did have some weird interaction where Otis kind of like they called out Sami Zayn, he gets in there, he's like bragging, and then Otis comes in and then he's like appalled that Otis was in the same sentence as him. So I guess that's kind of like a little thing that they did, little foreshadowing, which I thought was nice.
So the thing is, my question for you is, we know that Otis is the Money in the Bank holder, Sami Zayn is the IC champion. It seems that there's going to be some sort of feud, and it would make sense for the feud to be for the title. Like, why would they have a feud if the title's not involved?
Maybe Sami Zayn politics his way into having Otis defend the briefcase rather than he defend the title.
Can you imagine Sami?
Be a one-off thing too.
But can you imagine Sami holding the Money in the Bank briefcase and the IC title? Everything's 2020 has been a weird year, but it's going to be an awesome year for Sami Zayn.
Can you imagine Otis holding the IC title and the Money in the Bank?
Yeah, I mean, that is...
And a lunchbox.
That is quite a possibility. Let's not forget the lunchbox. But, hey, this is my favorite segment of the night just because I'm a huge fan of this guy. We have the return of Daniel Bryan and the virtual yes movement. Yes, that's
is he
that's
in
what
your
it is.
fave five?
He's in my fave five. Come on now, he's looking like $1 million. Let me just kind of add that as well.
Brie Bella's in the Thunderdome too.
Yeah, with their
She's
kid.
There.
Yeah, with their kid Birdie. And
yeah, that's an interesting name for a kid.
Yeah, so Daniel Bryan is loving every moment, and he said that while I enjoyed my time off at home, I couldn't wait to be back because I love seeing all the fresh faces, such as Bianca Bella, the Riot Squad, Kevin Owens, Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, and he can't wait to face all of these men. And this is where Seth Rollins' music comes out, and I just texted you right away, like, oh my god, is this happening? Are they going to drop the whole Mysterio family stuff? And are we going to get a feud between Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins? And what happens next?
Oh, my God. I mean, I was so excited because I'm like, he's not mentioning the Messiah on purpose, I feel.
He calls himself the savior of SmackDown.
Yeah, so Seth comes out, and clearly he's confused. He says Daniel Bryan must have some issues with his brain after not being on SmackDown for a while because he failed to mention the greatest acquisition in the draft.
It's a good point.
And he's now the savior of SmackDown instead of the Messiah of the Monday Night Messiah, which is cool. Dave even says something like Rollins the Redeemer. He basically says you can pick whatever you want to call me, Daniel Bryan. I need to know if you're on my side for the greater good or not, because you're either with me or against me. Daniel Bryan is not he's with him, but not really, because Daniel Bryan likes making the world a better place. He likes making wrestling as good as it could be, but he doesn't agree with Seth Rollins' vision. He thinks it's self-centered, and I mean, maybe not the most elegant term, but he calls it dumb. And then they kind of argue about it's not dumb. Yes, it is. Oh, it is dumb. And then Seth Rollins hits Daniel Bryan, and they start fighting. And it looks like Seth Rollins is going to take advantage, but Daniel Bryan, so quick, runs the ropes and does a beautiful diving clothesline and then hits the yes kicks. But he doesn't get his third kick because Seth Rollins retreats.
I just want to say something before you go on. And I love saying this. Inject this feud into my veins. Anyways, go on.
Yes, this should be a match. But just to bring you back to reality, Seth Rollins, as he escapes, we hear the Mysterio music. Both of them come out. And Seth is kind of cornered. He doesn't know what to do. So he actually runs back to the ring and he's like, hey, Daniel, help me out with this. Let's team up. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be even better. I'm like, this would be the best swerve. But no, Daniel Bryan kind of leaves and he leaves Seth alone to deal with his problems. And then Buddy Murphy runs down to the ring and it kind of looks like he's going to side it with Seth until he just takes out Seth. And then they have a moment where they're fighting each other. He gives a beautiful knee to the face to Seth Rollins before Seth escapes. And then Buddy Murphy offers his hand in a sign of a handshake as a sign of friendship to both the Mysterios, but that doesn't go very well. And Dominic rejects it almost immediately and walks out. Ray is kind of like,
Yeah, he's kind of mouthing him off. Like, we don't really know what he's saying, but clearly, Ray's not happy either, and they both walk away. So,
poor Buddy.
it seems that
Or
this is
Murphy.
going to.
Which one is it?
Yeah, but it seems like this is going to continue for a little while.
Yeah.
I was happy for a little while when I saw that Daniel Bryan. Who knows like how long he wants to keep wrestling. So like I want to see all these matches. Like I want to see him wrestle KO and Aleister Black and Keith Lee and all those guys. So I just kind of want him to just go and wrestle Seth Rollins. But it seems that he's going to be waiting for a little bit until this feud continues. But hey.
Yeah. I don't even know what's going to happen next. I'm not sure if I'm even excited about it, but
we were promised a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between the Street Profits and Ziggler and Rude.
I mean, we got that, sort of.
Well, yeah, it wasn't really much of a match because things quickly go out of hand. It doesn't even take long. Maybe like a minute in, things go out of hand.
No, this is not even a match. Yeah, it's like nothing.
Ziggler and Rude, they are just kind of hammering on Montez Ford, and the ref kind of just calls the bell because they're disobeying the ref. And basically post-match, Montez Ford, he kind of goes really high and he hits a top rope splash on Rude and Ziggler, and we see Ric Flair in the Thunderdome crowd who's smiling creepily and he's wearing sunglasses inside. That's
the only thing besides, like, I mean, you're right. Like half the focus of this match was entirely on Ric Flair, like with his sunglasses. Looks like it's Weekend at Bernie's or something. But the other thing I thought was cool because there really wasn't a match. It was literally like Angelo versus Ziggler for like 3 seconds. Then Rude comes in, beats them up, and then Ford comes in to break a pin, and then it's over. But Rudolph showed quite some cool tag team moves. Like Rude picked up Ziggler and then he flipped him over and he did like a nice leg drop. There was also like the spine buster into a zigzag, which was cool. So I think that they're starting to develop tag team maneuvers, which is going to be nice for future matches because clearly this is going to happen again. So let's just move on because clearly they didn't bother to give us anything this week with this. So
yeah, I mean, this was my second favorite segment, pretty neck and neck with the Daniel Bryan stuff, but it's boss time, and Sasha Banks is looking like $1,000,000, but you don't need me to say that every single week. She looks good all the time.
I actually wrote that both of them were dressed for a contract signing and not to wrestle.
There you go. So
good stuff.
So you stole my thunder. They're going to have a contract signing, and we know how they always go.
But we already know that. They've been saying it all night. Just because we didn't mention it, we wanted it to be a surprise.
Of course. So Adam Pearce is in the ring, and he's there to officiate the contract signing. But first, Sasha, she signs the contract, right? So she can, I guess she's the challenger, so she has to sign first.
As the challenger.
And she goes on the mic, and I loved her promo. So she talks about how she's been waiting for this moment for a very long time. But then Bayley kind of quickly retorts and she's like, well, so have I. I can't wait to get this over with so I can continue to dominate the SmackDown Women's Division since over a year. Michael Cole, how many days has it been? 370 or something like that? Like, she's like, even I've lost count. I've been so dominant. And also, she kind of put salt in the wound by saying that she did it all by herself. And this is where Sasha was like, you're kidding me. Like, do you really want to say that to my face? And, you really want to say that you did this all by yourself? And Bayley's like, well, listen, like, she's like, you would have turned on me, and I just kind of did it before you. And Sasha isn't too happy because she's like, listen, if I wanted to turn on you, I would have done that years ago. Like, we're friends. Friends don't do that to each other. And she talks about their history in NXT when Sasha got called up with Charlotte and Becky. Bayley stayed in NXT. And she's like, who called you and brought you in? Who, like, kind of called you and kind of formed a tag team and got the women's tag team titles to fruition? Like, let's not forget that I helped you every single time. So, it's like, I don't know. I believed every single word that she was saying. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Sasha has really improved when it comes to her promos. And I loved this line, though. She's like, she talks about how Sasha's name is bigger than Bayley's title. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, I was like, man, that was a pretty powerful sentence.
It does somewhat invalidate the title and invalidate the fact that she's even challenging for it. But yeah, it was pretty harsh words. Definitely a good thing to say. Solid line.
The reason, so I do agree with you, but the reason why I think that it worked is because Sasha was so heated in that moment that, like, it kind of made sense for her to say it. And, like, I don't think that she kind of, demeaned or, like, kind of belittled, the title by saying that. But I think her point was just that, like, at Hell in a Cell, I'm going to end your career, and taking your title is going to be the icing on top of the cake. And
Pretty much.
surprisingly, though, Bayley does not sign the contract. So,
So were you surprised though? Actually,
I mean, we've seen chicken shit heels like do chicken shit heel stuff, but then they still sign the contract. But like this time around, Bayley doesn't sign, and then Michael Cole kind of has to remind us, oh, if Bayley doesn't sign, then the match isn't official. So before that, actually, kind of
maybe they can have an exhibition instead.
you're a smart guy, man. Are you Adam Pearce?
You know.
Are you Adam Pearce?
Sometimes.
So
sometimes I had to. It took me a while to get back home to record this after being at the Thunderdome a couple hours ago.
So Sasha calls her a coward, and one way or another, she's going to make Bayley sign that contract. So that was a really solid segment, and
Bayley cannot run inside Hell in a Cell.
Great point. So we see Braun Strowman working out backstage, and he's already sweating, and I'm like, man, this is weird. There's 30
He's
minutes
gotta stop
left.
wearing those tops, man.
Yeah,
He
it's
has
weird.
got to. But
The Fiend has changed them in such a way that now Braun Strowman wrestles in camo clothing and brown t-shirts.
it's not even. I don't even know what color it is. It's a strange. I don't even like. It's not brown. It's like a light brown. It's like a tan.
It's like beige tan. I don't know, but this is where I texted
I've
you
never
again.
seen that color. It's
and-
such an interesting shade.
Okay,
of color.
let's move on. Let's not talk about his
Okay,
t-shirt. There's 30 minutes left to the show, and I'm like, there's no way that Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman is gonna go 30 minutes.
Yeah, they're not putting on a 30-minute clinic, and then they come out like their entrances, like they have their entrances, and I'm like, okay, but like literally it's 9:30. What's going on? But no, the entrances take forever.
And then the
There's
commercials.
another commercial.
Yeah.
And then I don't even think the match started until like 9:45.
Something like that. But what was interesting though is we see Keith Lee, we see Mark Henry, and even Goldberg in the Thunderdome crowd, and Jey Uso is looking on backstage with obviously the classic camera,
TV angle.
TV
Yeah.
angle. The match finally starts after a long commercial break, and Roman starts off with a Superman punch that kind of just throws Braun Strowman out of the ring. And he runs him, and he basically runs him out, and he kind of runs and he hits him with a drop kick onto the apron, vintage Roman stuff. And Braun is at the beginning getting chumped out, to start.
Yeah, this
basically.
was weird to watch. Braun was like getting just destroyed. Even when they locked up at the beginning, Roman was able to just throw him out of the ring because I guess Braun was too aggressive, and Roman sidestepped and he was just able to take him out of the ring, and then Roman was just dominating using big boots. It felt such a different match than what we're used to seeing between them that I don't know. I was kind of interested, and the only turning point was toward the end, right before the commercial. Strowman is able to pick up. I think he tosses Roman into the table, and then he does his tackle, and Roman goes over the barricade, and then after the commercial we have the opposite, right? We have Strowman dominating Roman for a bit.
Yeah, pretty much. We basically see, Braun Strowman. Well, at this point, this is where Strowman kind of rushes in to Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns kind of moves out of the way. Braun hits the ring post. Roman follows that up with a Superman punch. But Strowman reverses that, and he chokeslams him. Roman kicks out at 2, and when he kicks out, we see yet again what he did.
Low blow kick out, yeah.
Basically, a low blow kick out, which leads to a spear, but only gets a 2 count, and Roman's kind of surprised at that. He goes
upset, visibly upset.
Yeah, he goes for the spear yet again, but Strowman reverses. But surprisingly, we see it. I've never seen this before, but we see a super rare submission hold, the guillotine.
Yeah, he locks him in the guillotine,
and that's how he wins. He wins by submission.
Yeah, that was weird. So yeah, Braun is struggling. He's fighting out of it, but eventually goes down to a knee and falls down completely, and then taps out.
Yeah, what a surprise!
Like, okay. And if you didn't think he was chumped out at this point, just wait till what happens after. So Jey Uso comes out, right, to kind of cut the celebration short. And I guess Roman is not done with Braun. He spears him again, and then he invites Jey to come down.
Yeah.
He gets a chair handed to him by Heyman, and Roman is basically like, this is how he puts food on the table. This is how he takes care of the family. And he starts beating Braun with the chair, and the referees have to stop him. But then Roman's not done, so he scares them off, and he continues to do that. And he tells Jey I never wanted to hurt you. I love you. I just this is what's gonna happen to you. I'll do this to him. Imagine what I'll do to you. And he beats him down some more. And then Jey comes in, and Roman's like, here, hit him. And Jey doesn't want to. And then Roman offers to have Jey hit him. He turns his back to him. Jey throws the chair down because he doesn't want to use it. But this Roman is like kind of happy about it. Then he's like gonna give him a hug, but no, Jay starts beating him up, gives him a nice super kick, some slaps, hits him with the chair, saying, "I love you too, Oos," and that was pretty nice. And the only thing that I thought this kind of like the ending just soured it for me because I'm like, nice, Jey Uso gets a 1-up, but no. As soon as the refs come in to stop Jay from beating up Roman gets up and like sneaks in a Superman punch just so he can stand tall in the end again.
Yeah, pretty much.
But man, do I want to see Jey Uso win this title?
Yeah,
really bad.
I mean, so do I, but we know that's not going to happen. I do think that this is Roman Reigns because it was very clear when he hits him with a Superman punch. You saw the look on Roman's face, and Roman was like, "Crap, I'm gonna have to beat the crap out of him. I'm gonna have to basically, show him, who's the tribal chief." And he actually said it. Yeah, you're right. He did say, "Well, that was his last chance." That's basically how SmackDown ended. I'm curious to know what your thoughts were on SmackDown because I feel like we might have some differing opinions on the show.
It was all right. I mean,
okay.
The main event was kind of okay. I didn't really like the way it ended. I would have much preferred to see Jey Uso get a 1-up, just one, but whatever. The 6-man tag was great. The New Day Farewell was great. Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins segment teases a lot of interesting things, even though Rey Mysterio showing up at the end and continuing that other storyline kind of brings you back to reality. It's like, pinch me, I'm dreaming because we got to do this thing first. But yeah, there was a few matches that were kind of like whatever, like the tag team titles. We kind of got that taken away from us. The opening segment was bizarre. So aside from a couple of solid matches and a couple of solid segments, like it was like 50-50 things I really liked and things I didn't quite care. Yeah. So it was like a solid 6 or 7, I would say, on 10 if I had to give it a number.
That's fair. I mean, I think for me, I do agree with you on most points. I feel like it would have been nice to have kind of Jey Uso, kind of 1-up Roman Reigns. We do have another episode of SmackDown before Hell in a Cell, so I do feel like Jey Uso might get his revenge.
That has to be it. Otherwise, like if he's always losing and he's always getting the short end every time, every encounter, it just doesn't make him a believable challenger. Even though I guess he's not supposed to be a believable challenger because we know he's not going to win.
Yeah. So and I did enjoy.
Believe a little bit.
I did enjoy the return of Daniel Bryan and them planting the seed. Hopefully, this is just me crossing my fingers and hoping that this was actually them planting the seeds for a future feud with Seth Rollins. I did also enjoy the great promo from Sasha Banks and the retort from Bayley. I think that's probably the match that I'm looking forward to the most at Hell in a Cell because Sasha has been amazing in both her Hell in a Cell matches against Becky and against Charlotte, although she didn't win either of them. So I think that this is finally time.
She has to lose to all the horsewomen.
Stop it. I think this is finally time for Sasha to dominate and be that fourth member of the 4 horsewomen to have a good reign because we know that Sasha and Reigns don't really go hand in hand.
What do you mean? Sasha and Roman Reigns have never teamed up. What are you talking about?
You're so funny. The one thing that I personally don't really care for, but I'm going to go with an open mind is Lars Sullivan. Not a fan of the guy. Wow. It's kind of hard.
I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. I didn't even care about that either. So yeah, Jeff, Sheamus, and Strowman trumped out. Raw guys. Yeah, that was my summary.
And the one thing that I'm really looking forward to, even if it was just a video promo, I think Bianca Bella can do a lot of great things on SmackDown. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that as well. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to wrestling, it wasn't a wrestling heavy show. Yes, the 6-man tag match was amazing. Like I was a big fan of that. But after that, we don't really get much of a match between Rudolph and the Street Profits. It wasn't really a match. And the main event was fine. Like it wasn't like amazing, but still, like there were some moments. But we've seen Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns, and we've seen how good of matches that they can have. So it was kind of a knock below what they've done. So for me, though, it was a 7, just because again the strong moments were really strong, and I feel like that kind of helped SmackDown just kind of be a fluid episode overall.
I feel like we always say it's a 6 or a 7. I'm not sure if we even have.
They're consistent.
Differing opinions. We're consistent at least.
I guess.
One thought I'd like to put out there before we call it is just I'm wondering if Daniel Bryan showing up was just like a one-off thing because he's not ready to come back full time, or if he's actually going to be on for the next episodes consistently. This might have just been like plant the seed. He's gone. He'll be back again in a couple of months, maybe.
No, I mean I think that we we will be seeing Daniel Bryan. Like, let's not forget that he mentioned KO and he mentioned Aleister Black by name and he mentioned, Apollo Crews and how he wants to face them. I feel like we might get that. Like, we kind of might get Daniel Bryan just asking them for matches, and it doesn't have to be for like a story of like, oh, you did this to me or you did that to me. It's just Daniel Bryan wants to have great matches on SmackDown. So I think that it's, again, like, for me, SmackDown and Daniel Bryan are synonymous with each other, and I feel like Daniel Bryan kind of wants to bring that back. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually, if he actually is a mainstay on SmackDown and a regular, wrestler on the show. But that was our recap for SmackDown, the season premiere of SmackDown, might I add.
It was the season premiere?
Yeah. So if you guys do enjoy our content,
No idea.
make sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel. You'll find all the description. You'll find all the information in the description box below, where to find us in social media and in audio format, wherever you listen to your podcast. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh my God. So you don't think that Raw got buried there at all? Not even a little bit?
I feel
Except
like
for the New Day?
I feel like you're just looking too much
Even
into
Rudolph.
things.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to come up with random stuff to say.
You and your
I don't know.
conspiracy theories. You're just
I'm all about
mad. You're just mad that your ginger Sami Zayn got shoved, and then you're mad that Sheamus, your other ginger, got pinned. That's all.
Man, you know me too well. That cuts like a knife.